Hey guys, welcome back to Embers and Ash. My name's Ashley, if you didn't know, and today I'm doing a DIY project for you guys, which I haven't done in a while, mostly because I have a baby, but I really wanted to make a baby playmat and show you how I do it because I get so many questions about the playmat that I was using for Rook. Now he's outgrown it. But anyways, I made this leaf patterned baby mat. It's for a friend who's expecting, so I'm really excited to see a newborn baby on this. But yeah, it turned out really cool. I like the veining on it. So stick around if you want to learn how I made this. It's very simple. I am a beginner sewer, so I really think that anyone can make this with a sewing machine. But before I show you how I make this, I want to talk about today's sponsor, Skillshare. You guys have heard me talk about Skillshare a lot. If you guys don't know about Skillshare, Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. They have classes on everything from minimalism, photography, houseplants, graphic design, productivity, sewing, which is important for you and me today, and so much more. It's made specifically for learning, so there's no ads. They're frequently adding new classes, so you know there's always going to be some skill that you can learn or passion to deepen, and it's less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. I've really been into sewing lately and I've been learning a lot. They have everything from basics to professional skills. The most recent class that I watched was Sew Your Own Clothing, No Sewing Patterns Needed, Absolute Beginners by Chantel Fashion. Now this title really grabbed me because I'm not one to use patterns when I sew. I really like to freehand things. This class had a lot of really good tips on how to do that and still have a really good outcome in your project. She talks about everything from the tools that you're going to need, how to do basic stitching, how to sew on a bias, which is what I used in this project. And then she goes on to show you how to make a top, dress, and pants with no pattern, which is pretty incredible. I definitely learned a lot from this class and implemented some of the skills into this project here. So if you would like to learn how to sew freehand, or you're just interested in any of the other classes Skillshare has to offer, the first 1,000 to click the link in the description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. So jump on that quick if you're interested. I know that I've gained a lot of skills and knowledge from Skillshare's classes, so I'm really excited to offer that opportunity to you guys as well. So thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get into how to make this playmat. Okay, so first off, materials you're gonna need. I won't go into the obvious like thread, sewing machine, scissors. You need your basics for sewing, but I used like a forest green fabric. You can really use any fabric that you'd like, preferably something that's soft because your baby's gonna be laying on it. This one's kind of more of a cotton spandexy blend. That's just what I picked. You're also gonna need some of this fill. I forget what it's called, but I'll put it on the screen. This is basically just fluffy stuff to make the mat soft. Again, if you couldn't tell, not a professional. And then to clean up the edges, I used bias tape. This was my first time using it and I think it went pretty well. It's just a really easy way to clean up the edge. One thing I do wish is that the bias tape color matched a bit better with the fabric, but this was the only option that the fabric store had, so that's what we got. And yeah, let's get straight into making this mat. So first thing you're gonna do is lay out your fabric and trace out your design. I'm not going off of a pattern or anything. I'm just gonna kind of freehand it, but I am gonna use just these elastics to kind of make a basic trace so I can play with the shape a little bit. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm gonna use this white pencil to try and sketch it out, which is always a little bit tricky. Now I'm gonna cut it out. Okay, this side is looking a little lopsided, so I'm gonna tidy it up a little bit. Okay, this is the shape we're working with. Now we gotta make another one for the other side. Okay, I got it all laid out. I'm going to just add a few pins to secure it for when I cut out the bottom layer. Okay, so here's the plan. If I was just gonna fill this with stuffing, I would sew the hole outside, fill it, and then close it up. But because we're gonna put lines in the middle, I'm gonna put the stuffing inside and then start sewing those middle lines because the fabric is probably gonna shift. And if I did it at the end, we would probably have some bunching in the corners. So that's the plan. So I didn't get new filling for this project, obviously, so I'm just gonna kind of fill in the blanks. I know this looks terrible, but I promise it's gonna be fine, and I'm only saying that because I'm assuming this clip is gonna be in the final video if you're seeing it right now. Okay, now we're gonna lay the top piece. Okay, so we're gonna pin this like nothing else because there's so many loose pieces, and we're gonna start planning out our lines, I guess. Okay, so as you can see, I laid out some elastic again to kind of pick my lines, and then I put pins down, and I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. Okay, all my pins are in place, and now we can start sewing. This is the trickiest part for sure, and I think I actually put all of my pins in backwards. Yes, I did, because I want to work this way out. All right, okay. Let's just get started. I'm gonna start with the middle two lines and work my way outwards. I'm just doing a straight stitch, nothing special, just basic sewing. You really want to make sure that you're not pushing or pulling the fabric too much because you're gonna get wonky waves, so try and just guide it as it is. Okay, and I'm stopping before the edge. That is what the first stitch looks like. I think it looks really good, but also the first one's the easiest, so we'll move on to this one next. And I'm starting this stitch about like a 1/4 inch over. It doesn't have to be any specific distance, but I want it to not be on the exact same line as the one we just made. Okay, and I stopped before my first line. I just thought it would look good if they were offset. I'm definitely gonna have to like check my pins as I go because it's quite thick. They are wanting to hop out, which is so dangerous, especially when you have a baby that's crawling around. Okay, and this line isn't like a perfect curve, but I think that's okay. I'm totally fine with it looking more organic. All right, now just pick whichever side you want to work on. This side is going to be easiest because it's not going to be bunching in the machine, so I think I'm just going to start here and we'll see how it goes. All right, 1/2 of it is done. It's looking really nice, I must say. Almost better than I expected, just because I don't have a lot of confidence in myself. And now we're gonna start on this side. I'm almost thinking I'm gonna sew it from this direction, just so that all this fabric doesn't bunch up in the sewing machine. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it that way. I think it's gonna be better. Okay, all the inside stitching is done, so now I'm going to do the edge, which is the trickiest part. And I think first things first, I'm gonna cut off all this excess filling because it really just gets in the way. So, let's do just a simple stitch again. Okay, I'm now gonna do the tail of this leaf. Basically, I'm just lining up my stitches and I'm just gonna continue them down. I just wanted to save them all for the end to make my life a little easier. Okay, so there's a lot of loose strings, but it's done, or at least that section is. Okay, so to finish up these edges, I'm actually going to use bias tape. I've never used it before, but it seems pretty straightforward. It's just this like double folded fabric that you put around the edge of your seam and you make just a straight stitch along it and it closes off your open seam. Simple enough. Okay, so I'm gonna cut my edges a bit thinner so that the bias tape fits on it. And that's it. I just finished up putting the bias tape around the edge. It's pretty straightforward, so I didn't show the whole thing, but I hope you guys got the idea. Please let me know if you try this at home. I would love to see your versions. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.